Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back. Glad you made it, Bamba Cuts. It's another social production. That's right. We're doing it Friday, January 30th, 2026. Thank you once again for joining me. Whether you're tuning in from Canada, down south in the United States of America, further down south, Mexico, South America, Europe, Asia, Africa, Antarctica, Papua New Guinea, New Zealand, Australia, over there in Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, over there in Thailand, in the Philippines, over there in the Congo, Zimbabwe, Tanzania, over there in Istanbul, in Turkey, wherever you're tuning in from. Thank you. Let's get a sip of this shit right here. Cold weather is upon us. I hope your tits are warm. I hope, make sure to pour antifreeze down your puss. Ladies, please, it is that time of year. It is time to pour antifreeze. Get a funnel. Pour it down your vag. You don't want the lips to close up and seal, because if they do, they won't open up again till spring, summertime, and we can't have that. That's how you get a blood clot. So antifreeze, remember that. Or just like, also works if you want to keep your, by the way, if you don't want to get frostbite on the tip of your fingers, if you don't want, always jam your fingers inside your puss if you have it on your personage. If you don't have your own puss, find a female with an extra puss. Put your fingers up in there and keep it warm. Thank you for joining me. It is Friday. Lots of fun topics to discuss, lots of things to get off our chests, lots of things to put on our chests, lots of things to get off our nuts, lots of like what? Like hair, like semen that's like landed on your nuts and then it's dried off and then now it's time for it to come off. Neither here or there, but let's just get right into it. What am I even talking about? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you know by now, if you don't know now, you know. A few decades ago, we were in the business of selling weed. Some of us, maybe for a week or two. Some of us were great at it. Others were, maybe it was nice to do for a little while, but it wasn't worth it. That's what we decided to do collectively. And some of us just went to other people who sold weed at times and bought it off the personage. But that was domestic. That was beautiful. That was our community. That was us. We were growing it, we were selling it on the table, and then eventually it got legalized, at least here in Canada. And then in some parts in the States as well, state by state. And then there's federal laws that you guys abide by, which is diff. Nonetheless, moving forward is 2026. What is going on? You know who's got their greasy little hands in our pockets? Oh man, these are our streets. These are our turfs, ladies and gentlemen. I'm talking about Oklahoma. Never been. I'd like to visit. But you know what I heard? And you guys might have heard it too, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently the Chinese, it just gets my blood boiling. Chinese criminal networks are apparently connected to U.S. cannabis farms, and they are potentially linked to the Chinese government, let's just cut through all that. Xi Jinping is selling weed out of Oklahoma cannabis farms, maybe allegedly. I don't know if the link is directly connected to him in particular, but nonetheless, apparently criminal networks connected from New York to Oklahoma and who knows which other states all around the country. They're buying up land, growing weed, which by the way is not legal in China. In China, I don't think it's legal. But now they're doing it, man. They're doing it in our backyard, and it is time to, what are we gonna do about this? Ladies and gentlemen, I say it's high time. Bring back the opium wars. If you're selling ganja on our streets, we are gonna sell opium in Xi Jinping's Beijing. That's right. So if you are into opening up a den, you're like, man, I want to open up a den, but I need a theme. Opium. Opium is your theme. You head on down south and east, southeast. You go to China, all right? You take $500K to $1 million with you. You open up a shop, all right? It's an underground up top. You are selling street food, all right? You let locals play with monkeys. Children gather around from all around the world. They take a walk on the Great Wall, come down, eat your Chinese food, street Chinese food, get to the back. There's a hooker there. She's slumped over. Push her over. Door opens. Walk down the stairs. What's underneath? It's an opium den. Two can play it this way. Chinese government. So if you're like, oh, we're gonna get in there and just make money off off their weed. Well, guess what? Guess what? Lots of pipes to be smoked, lots of opium to be sold, lots of you want to get teabagged, son? You want to get teabagged? Cuz we'll do that shit. God, what am I even trying to say? I'm trying to say make sure you buy your weed from somebody who you know. Good times. 5, 10, 15 years ago. You made a random phone call and the numbers kept changing. But a friend of a friend of a friend of a friend always kept that new number intact. And they passed it down to everybody else. And you called somebody, maybe Mike, maybe Chris, doesn't matter. And you met up somewhere, it was sketch. You met up in a car, it was good. To have a brief conversation, it got awkward. At times, maybe he or she may have brought their dog with them. It was a Rottweiler, it was scary. You were like, man, this dog love dogs, but still, kind of low-key sketch. Why are we in a basement? Doesn't matter, you drove away. You paid for 4, you may have gotten 3.8, doesn't matter. It was fun times for everybody, but nonetheless, they're coming in here and trying to stir up shit. So I'm saying, take it to the streets, open up a nice opium den, and let the fun times begin. God. I wonder how deep this rabbit hole goes. I wonder how deep your hole goes. Show us how deep your hole is in the comments. Let's take a picture of your hole if it's really deep and put in the comments. A lot of people have been complaining, of course, ladies and gentlemen, that the babies of today are... Sorry. What is this? Oh, a little fur ball over there. It doesn't matter. The point is, ladies and gentlemen, that a lot of people have been talking and apparently they're not satisfied with the way their babies are moving. Far too slow, they say. Their heads are barely, kept up by their weak necks. Their spinal cord is mush. Their limbs are barely doing anything. How could we assist these dumb babies who are not mobile? I went ahead and did a lot of research. I got in touch with the best scientists, the one that have had their licenses removed due to questionable decisions, but nonetheless, good doctors, good scientists. And we came up with exoskeletons for babies. That's right. Tired of having to watch out for your baby because they're too weak to do anything? Oh, I can't open up this jar of tuna, mom. And they don't even say that, but they're making noises. So you eternally have to make out what they're saying. Well, guess what? Toss a can of tuna, toss a jar of tuna or sardines at their face and walk out and grab yourself a pack of smokes. Get some scratch off lottery tickets. Buy yourself some energy drinks. Go for a beautiful walk. And equip your baby with an exoskeleton so that your baby can easily maneuver the jar of pickles, tuna, sardines, or anything else for that matter. They can do anything now simply by the using of this exoskeleton. So please, say goodbye to, I need to put my baby in a daycare because he or she can't fend for themselves. Those days are gone, all right? Exoskeletons for babies with AI, that's right. They'll watch out over your baby, they'll record everything, every second of their breathing live, and if they need to do something, they can make it work using nothing but their thoughts. They want to grab a tit, no more crying. They just fucking get up on all fours. That's right, on all fours, as babies do, and go and climb up and grab that titty and start sucking. But guess what? You're tired of regular babies sucking at a very slow pace because they don't have strong jaw muscles. An exoskeleton will allow their jaw muscles to latch onto your tits. A grip that's never been, a grip so tight that's never been gripped like that since at least 1927 when gripping amongst babies, latching on amongst babies, it just skyrocketed. I don't know what the reason was. I think it was just the times. It was just difficult times. It was the depression, I think. The depression was coming on, so the babies, when they saw a tit, they latched on hard for a few years, all right? That was the late 20s, early 30s. But nonetheless, that was a natural phenomenon. This is technology being put to good use. You're welcome out there. Exoskeletons for weak babies. Say goodbye to daycare. Say goodbye to teachers. Say goodbye to waiting for their muscles to develop, whatever that means. Somebody wrote in and asked, and thank you for your anonymous question out there. Like, man, Rob, I've been eating a lot of food all my life. Me and my family, me and my friends. And how do we enhance eating? How do we make eating fun again? Thank you for that wonderful, wholesome question. You sexy son of a or daughter of a bitch, because I don't know your sex, gender. You will forever remain anonymous. But thank you for that question. One of the best ways, I've seen this on the streets, I've seen it on the internet, it's actually making eating way more fun. Okay? People are apparently regurgitating their food. All right? So that's ingesting your food, partially throwing it up, and then ingesting it again. And everybody on the street who's doing this is having a lot of fun. So that's making eating food fun again. It's making groups get online and post videos of themselves. They are, again, with friends, family members, even new acquaintances, eating food, swallowing it, waiting a little bit, throwing it up, and then picking it up with their mouths and then eating it again, and then repeating this process until the levels of fun have been risen. So please try it out. You're like, can I try this out with my sister? Yeah, you absolutely could. You absolutely could. You guys are both in college, all right? You both may be having relationship problems, or you're both succeeding in your relationships, but you got together with your sister, that's right, friend, and you're like, man, I want to spend some quality time with my sister. How can we spice things up and have a little bit of fun without having to do, crazy shit? Regurgitate your food together, all right? Ever want to mix and match, but you're like, man, I don't have to chew whatever you're having. I'd rather you chew it and then I just have you throw up, and then I'll pick it up with my mouth, and I'll do the same for you. Reverse these. You get the hamburger, I'll get the tacos. Chew it, swallow it, throw up, lick up each other's regurgitated food. So please try it out. Again, you're like, what if it gets messy? What if things? Obviously, duh. Have napkins around. It does get a little bit messy. You're like, what about the smell? Well, it's not that bad. It's honestly not that bad. It's actually a refined smell. It is something that you can grow accustomed to. Think of it as you're expanding your palate, okay? They're doing it in Europe, all right? They're doing it in the south of France. They're doing it I believe this is what they're doing in Dubai, all right? Start out with the rich and the elite, but they don't want us to know. So I want you to just take advantage. Have fun. You're like, what about family? Could I do it with my mom and dad? You could totally do it with your mom and dad. Eat all the food you want. Throw it up, and then eat, and then pick it up with your mouth, and then eat it again. And it just takes your food consumption to a whole nother world. You're welcome. And again, these are the topics that we discuss and touch upon because, once again, some things just want to be kept on the down low for the upper echelons of society, but we say nay to that shit. So please regurgitate your food, have some fun, and enjoy. You're welcome out there. That's some good coffee. Yes. Dun 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 dun. License to police. Right there. What am I talking about? Apparently the UK is looking to move forward with getting their police to have licenses so that they can practice policing and have these licenses constantly be, revisited and then, examined to see if the police can maintain these licenses so that they can continue to practice policing. My thoughts on the matter, because I like to have thoughts on matters. Licensing for policing. I don't know how it works to become a police officer. I think you got to do a bunch of tests. I know a little bit about it. I think you got to do a physical test. At least you're in Canada. Got to do a physical test, then you got to do a written test. Then maybe there's some other tests too. Maybe you got to then combine the physical with the written. And maybe there's some oral as well. I'm talking about a little bit of the oral test. That's right. Right there, a little bit of the oral test. But how do I feel about the licenses? I'm not a fan of bureaucracy, to be honest with you. Never been. I like the old days. I'm talking like, 1827, 1905, when there was like little small towns and people like, there was a mean guy in the town and he used to, extort all the citizens of the town and used to tax them basically. He was like the mob guy back then. Maybe he wasn't even called a mob guy. He was like a mean, the landlord. He owned all the land and everybody rented, a little bar, a little tavern, a little, horse shop, a little, friggin' arts and crafts shop. I don't know what they had back then. You know, little ointments, you know, snake oil shop. They had it, whatever they had, you know, little concoctions, you know, making colas and then selling it and then drinking sweetened beverages and thinking it was, you know, the bee's knees. But they didn't know anything better. They didn't have anything. They didn't have TV. They didn't know. So sweet beverages probably was the bee's knees. But nonetheless, this one man was just, you know, taxing these poor people who barely made ends meet. And then one day a male arrived in town. He may have been in his early 20s, even maybe early 30s, or even 40s, or even 50s. Who knows? So you can never tell how old this man was. He always had, you know, a 5 o'clock shadow. And maybe he wore a cool cowboy hat. And the town folks saw him riding on his cool horse. And what did the horse, why was it so cool? Maybe it was because he was wearing sunglasses. That's right. He had a horse with sunglasses. And Jordans. The horse was equipped with Jordans way before Jordans became popular. That's right, a cool horse. And this man was running through town to town, you know, picking up hookers and drinking and having a good time and having his own sense of justice and righteousness. And the townsfolk saw it in his eye without him even having to say anything. They just saw that. They saw the goodness in his heart through the little twinkle in his eye. And they're like, oh, stranger coming through town, won't you be our sheriff? And they tossed him a little golden star and he placed it on his chest and he went, and that's right, he killed the old man who used to tax the poor town folk, and he saved all the little girls from becoming prostitutes. And later in life, of course, if they grow up and wanted to still become prostitutes, you totally support that. But like, you know, at a certain point, it's like, you go in the farm, youngin, you get on now, you get girl, you get quit doing that stuff. And it was good times, and there was no, you know, there's no licenses, there wasn't much bureaucracy. It was just like, are you, you know, do you almost have all your teeth, you know? Are both your eyes working, you know? Can you swing a gun? That's what they said about guns back then. They're like, can you swing a gun, fella? If you could swing a gun, you could be a sheriff. And that was fun times. And sure, he wasn't perfect, but we weren't looking for perfect back then. We were looking for it. I don't know what we were looking for, to be honest with you, but we weren't looking for perfect. And this guy used to smoke cigarettes and then sometimes just little, you know, maybe clean his teeth using a knife too. He did that. And all his outfit the whole entire outfit was made of leather. That's right. His horse was made of leather too. That's right. His gun also made of leather. Bullets covered in leather. That's right. His cigarettes also covered in leather. You could smell the leather off his 20 miles down the hill. You could smell the leather, the burning leather, and a little bit of BO, and a little bit of hooch, a little bit. You could smell that on him, but it was nice. It was nice. It meant safety. And you know what it didn't mean? It didn't mean, oh, let's check his licenses. That's what it didn't mean. It just meant somebody came in and wanted to do good work. But yeah, sure, did some people unintentionally get hurt in the process? Maybe he shot a couple of people that he wasn't supposed to shoot. Big whoop, big picture energy, everybody. All right, what happened to the town? They saved their money because they weren't getting taxed so much. They expanded their town and they connected with another town, and they had many babies, prosperous babies who went to school and learned things. And that was before licenses. And today, what do we have? Too many licenses, in my opinion. So I say nay. I say get rid of them. All right, we don't want any pencil pushers. We want gun-wielding, fast and loose gun-wielding, borderline outlaws themselves becoming police officers, so that we can actually have some, sense of fairness, justice, equilibrium. I don't know. Just too much. Again, too much of the old pencil pushing and too much of the old licenses. I do want to see a fellow who gets in the force and slowly we talk about it. We're like, oh, I don't want to see any fat police officers. Low key, I do kind of want to see a few fat police officers. That's nice. Somebody who's gone through the system for like 10, 20, 30 years. They work that. It takes time and effort to build up to that. All right. It doesn't start off like that, obviously. Most of them start out fit because they got to pass the physicals. But after a little while, you do want to see the old, that's how you get the experience with every layer of fat. If you were to cut through that man, you'd see the different circles of the fat throughout his lifetime. It's like cutting through a tree. It's like the tree rings, but fat rings for people. And that's experience. And you don't get that with licenses. Each year, each passing year adds another ring of fat to his beautiful belly. And guess what? He knows how to do things that's maybe not written down, all right? Maybe sometimes he doesn't do things by the book, all right? But when it comes time to, call it in, he calls it in. When it comes time to maybe look the other way because there's just way too much cocaine that we confiscated. If a brick or two goes missing, Jimmy just got himself a new wife and he's got a pair of twins coming out this weekend. He's dropping new twins. His twins are dropping this weekend. Maybe he could use a little bit of an extra bump in his paycheck. And that's the type of fella that you want. The fella that realizes that time is precious, that community means everything, and that sometimes being a team player is more important than pencil pushing and being a bureaucrat. So with that, I say no to licenses. Get rid of them. I say even get rid of the physical and the written test. If you want to become a police officer, simply show up and we will toss a badge in the air. Whoever jumps and grabs the badge becomes a police officer. That's how I do it, but it's not up to me. Who cares? What happened to the days where you used to have a duel to see who's going to become a sheriff? You know what I'm talking about. See who's got the best aim. Right there, dude. What am I even talking about, ladies and gentlemen? Ever want to squirt on a bitch? Ever want to squirt on a hoe? I know I do. I know you do too. Ever want to squirt on a fella? Ever want to squirt on a fella, ladies? Or other gentlemen who are watching? Maybe you do. I don't. Not on a fella. On the hoes, yes. On the bitches that want it, yes. And what am I talking about? Yeah, Ilhan Omar recently just got squirted on. This bitch got squirted on by a fella. I think she was in Minnesota or Minneapolis somewhere. I don't know. It doesn't matter. The point is she was talking to the town. Was it a town hall meeting? Was it a council meeting? I forget. It doesn't even matter. But she was talking. And a person, and a male, came up and just squirted an unknown substance on her body. And to that we say, first they said unknown. I recently discovered it may have been apple cider vinegar, if I'm not mistaken. Be careful how you say that. I said, not quite sure what the substance was, but nonetheless, she got squirted on. All right. Some people are saying it's staged. Some people are saying it's staged. Others are saying it's staged. Some are saying it might be staged. So that's what some people are saying. Others are saying that this is a brave woman taken squirting to the bod, to the I think she got squirted on her belly, and that's typical male. That's where we aim. Mostly we do aim for the belly because you don't want to get in the eye. You don't want to get in the eye. We've been there. We've all been there. Which one of us can say that we've not been there? We've all been there. And it's not fun. It is fun. It's not the worst thing that could happen, but it's just, you'd rather not get it in the eye. It's messy to clean up. Probably got to run to the bathroom and, which will actually give you some time to recover. You know what I mean? Sometimes getting it in the eye does give you an extra few seconds for round 2, 3, or 4. So maybe you get it in her eye. Nonetheless, she got it in her, I think the belly area. Now it was uncalled for. Whether it was staged or not, I don't know. But many people are saying it was. So we'll go with that one because many people are saying. We'll just go with that one. It was brave of her to stand there and say, no, let me have him. Let me go at this. Let me squirt on him. She said that. She said, because two can play it this way. She was about to flick her bean and just drench him. He was carried away. He was taken away. And the moral of that story is that if you're gonna be engaging in squirting, which I'm a fan of, squirting on hoes, one of the pillars of this podcast. We got about 27 pillars in this podcast that really, the core values of this podcast. One of them is squirting on hoes. And to that I say, always let people know, nobody wants to be surprised, squirt. Actually, come to think about it, as I just said it out loud, if bitches want to be surprising you with a squirt on the old face or roo, not opposed to it. Personally speaking though, but that's me. So, but because we do, bitches gotta be respected, hoes gotta be, we gotta, we can't be acting, all, do ask for permission to squirt on a bitch. You can't just, especially in public, if it's not, Because people don't, or if it's like a pop-up show, then if it's, if you're both in on it and it's like, you scored on me, I'll scored on you. If it's like, oh, people are reacting, what does it mean? What even is art? It's subjective. All that to say, it's better to ask, because you never know. Somebody might be like, somebody might take, somebody might seem like, oh, are we in a competition of squirting now? Is this, are we gonna see who can squirt more? And I tell you fellas, as much as we're able to, aim and squirt with direction, the bitches do have us in terms of quantity when it comes to liquid squirting. I think they drown us if they wanted to. There's just some of them, it's great. I love it personally, but it's way more than our squirting ability. So in that realm, the ladies do have an advantage. But nonetheless, the takeaway of all this is to, just double check before you squirt on people. Double check. You never know, because people might take it the wrong way. People might like it too much, and then you forget the whole town hall meeting. Then it just becomes about, let's engage in squirting. And there's always time for that. And I'm a huge fan of that. But, let's separate business from pleasure for a few seconds if we can, ladies and gentlemen. All right? Yeah, and you don't know. Maybe she would have liked the way, maybe she would have liked back shots, and you didn't check. And that's, it takes two. It takes two. Always check where you're going to score. If you're going to, I heard Russia and the Ukraine are stopped. I think this is coming from Putin. I'm not even sure if it's, who knows what's, taking effect. But I heard they're stopping the war for a little brief moment of time. I don't know if it's going to actually happen, but due to bad weather, apparently it's just too cold. It's too cold. The weather's too bad for fighting and killing, apparently. Up until now, I believe I just read the latest stats, up to 2 million people roughly of casualties of war, whether they've been killed or, hurt or just displaced. Just 2 million people from both sides combined. I think most of it is from, majority is like I forget the exact, 1.3 is like from Russia's side, roughly 700,000 from the Ukrainian side. I don't know who comes up with these numbers, but a lot of people nonetheless. But it's still going after many years. But they stopped because of bad weather. And it just made me think, I'm like, if you're gonna, summer's, if anything, I'm just saying, if the weather is the only thing that gets people to stop war, if anything, summer's for fun times. Like, continue to war, and because wintertime, you don't even want to get out. Wintertime, we just got blasted with a ton of snow here in Toronto. Hasn't snowed this much since I think like 1999 or some shit. We got a whole ton. I know the US got a whole ton. I saw videos of Russia getting 7 feet of snow in some cities and whatever. But again, people don't want to get out and do much in the winter time. So it's actually, if you're going to stop the war, stop it in the spring and summer. Because like, let's go for a vacay. Let's go for a staycation. Let's have a little bit of fun in this winter time where it's like not much going on. And the weather is bad, So that's like, bad vibes, bad energies, bad weather, bad, so this, you do the bad things in winter. Then like fun times should be for spring, summer, fall. So I don't know how I feel about it. But that's a new discovery. I didn't know people stop for like bad weather. That's crazy. Because everybody's like wrapping their heads around like, how do we bring about peace? How do we stop the kills? It's just bad weather, apparently. Bad weather. That's what does it, really. At the end of the day, it's not some like masterful negotiation tactics or like, you take this, we'll exchange that. You can concede this, we'll take this, and you give that. It's just about bad weather. So in a sense, if you really want nobody to, lessons learned, if it's really cold, apparently people don't want to fight. That's what I learned, which sucks because again, summer is going to be fucking ruined. Get out there. Ye has just come out and apparently he's posted an apology for the Jew hate. I personally love Ye for the music. I separate the art from the artist. That's me personally. And in my book, you have got to, if you're not a killer or a rapist or a murderer, like, if you're not harming physically, I give people grace. I give myself grace. I try to, especially as, you grow and you get a little bit more, nobody's perfect. I'm glad to see that he's coming around. This is beautiful. Of course, I believe he's got a new album. Now, the low key, I'm totally glad that he's come around and realize some things. People go through their own journeys, no judgment. Who knows? Again, I'm not fucking perfect. Who amongst us is perfect? Ladies and gentlemen. But with that said, the funniest thing would be if he were to like apologize and the whole next album is him in like whiteface doing Hitler, rapping about it, rapping about more. That would be hilarious. If he came in if Ye came in whiteface Hitler and rapped more about Jew hate, not right, but pretty funny. Look, he's like, I'm so sorry. It was due to this, that, and the other. Next thing you know, again, whiteface, the whole mustache. Telling you right now, it's not like he doesn't have the money. He could come out full-blown Hitler with the mustache. Again, probably not right, but it would be hilarious. I'm pretty sure we can all agree it'd be pretty funny if he did that. But nonetheless, I'm happy to see he's making that turn. So yeah, I'd like to hear more music. I hope I haven't listened to the last few songs that he's put out. Again, not a fan of the whole, yeah. I like to, a little bit of the older stuff. Great. This past few, few of the records, not the records have been fine. A few of the songs. Not personally a fan, but nonetheless, I'm glad to see that he's moving forward with this. Hopefully some positives can come. Hopefully him and Kim can reunite. That's what I want to see. Hopefully that could happen. I don't know why. I just want love to work. Get back together, you silly kids. Get back together, you little love bugs. Get back together, have more babies. This is good news. This is good news, ladies and gents. Actually, for this, I'm being genuine right now. I want more people to take this as a model and implement it all around the world. If we could do this for a second, if we could just Trumpeasy, dude. Shout out to Trumpeasy for creating the Trump accounts. I believe he's creating these accounts that every newborn in America gets $1,000 deposited into a tax-free savings account. And by the time they're 18, this booms up with compounded interest to anywhere between 50 to 200,000 K. That is a beautiful idea for realsies. If everybody all around the world did this, we'd end poverty, which is one of the biggest impediments to humanity all around the world. If we could do this, it's a great model. I'm here for it. Genuine moments of, hey man, when somebody does something beautiful, fucking yes, it's about to collect. That's fucking great, man. I'm so happy to hear that. I hope more people, again, take notice around the world, do this for the youngins so that we can uplift one another together. It's a beautiful model. I hope we do this in Canada. I hope we do this all around the world. And fucking that's just, to give kids by the time they're 18, a fresh, a beautiful start. Because, everybody starts off different. If we could just even out the playing field a little bit, just so people have a chance of it would I genuinely get happy. So that's hell yes. That's beautiful. There's no, nothing else about that. Just want to say that. It's done a lot of great things. Trump says, you may agree with him, you may disagree with him on different stuff, but, the good, he does a lot of good. I believe he's handing out, he's releasing funds to go and aid in the California rebuilding because of the wildfires, which is, again, beautiful things. These are fantastic things. On the other hand, I fucking come down at it when I'm fucking objective, son. Motherfucking objective up in this bitch. Am I a little bit cheesed? Am I a little bit low-key? Did your boy audition for the Melania movie? Did I was being the chameleon that I am, was gonna play Melania Trump in the Melania movie, and her bodyguard was also gonna play Trump and the kids as well. I auditioned for all the parts, to be honest with you. They decided to go in a whole different direction. So the Melania documentary / movie is gonna be out. Yeah, I did an audition to just, whatever. They said you were great. We're gonna think about it. You know what they always say in business. That's industry talk for, yeah, we don't see you as right for this role. I had it in the bag, dude. I had it in the bag, all right? Darling, come to Melania. Let Melania show you some sweet, sweet love, darling. Yeah. Fucking right? It's me. Relax, dude. That was not Melania. Relax. Seamless darling, yes. I would give you tall baby if you put in me, I give you tall baby that makes basketball look very small in his hands when he's about 16, 17, 18. I give you tall baby, yeah? It's me, relax. Again, once again, the seamless transition. I would have done that. I did that. I also played a bodyguard. I auditioned for that part as well. Madam President, you're safe with me. Madam President, you're safe with me. Get back. Again, just me. No, I'm not a bodyguard. Some people say, they're like, you're too jacked to be a bodyguard. I'm like, I could drop size, dude. They're like, no, you're too big to play bodyguard. I said I could, if Dwayne Johnson can, get bulked up and Batista can drop, I can, if you find this too bad, and I get it, dog, I get it. I walk into a room, barely any space left for anybody else. You think I'm unaware of how girthy and thick I am? You think I don't know what I'm working with? I said I'm willing to drop the weight. They're like, we're looking for something a little bit slimmer. I'm like, all right, whatever. If you want to just keep coming up with excuses. But yeah, that's the Melania Trump movie. That's out. That's beautiful. Maybe I'll be in the next one. Melania Trump 2. This time it's all about the bodyguard, right? And I come in it's focused mainly on, I know the movie's going to be named Melania, but this time we highlight the focal point, the glue that really sticks everything together, the bodyguard in this movie. Madam President, get behind me. Again, it's just me, you guys. It is just, again, seamless transitions. I know, so quick, seamless. Where's my wife? I'm looking for my wife. Have you seen her? Mr. President, your wife's behind me. Right there, dude, again. What was that? Get back, get down. Get behind me, Madam President. Mr. President, get under me. I jump on top of him. I hear a little, what was that? Gunshots in the background. I'm on top of Melania and Trump, dude. You both say, Madam President, Mr. President, you're safe with me. While covering them with my giant body. Turns out it wasn't a gun, it was just a car backfiring. But nonetheless, they're safe. Better safe than sorry. I end up with a meme coin as the bodyguard meme coin. Dude, I do a pump and dump, make the third Melania movie. Come on, son. They grow to love me. We take all our DNAs, the three people, the bodyguard, Trump's DNA, Melania's DNA, we make a baby out of that in a lab. God. Melania 4. It's all about the baby. The baby's a bodyguard. He's got a little gun. Get behind me. He's got a really thick voice. Get behind me. As soon as he comes out the vag. Whose vag? Who knows? Who knows? Made in a lab. Little baby in a lab. That's beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, what am I even talking about? It is Friday. Thank you. I believe there is a 23-year-old stripper in Anaheim. 23-year-old stripper in Anaheim who beheaded her boyfriend, 55-year-old boyfriend. To that I say, let this not be the case that we all look at and say that when strippers look you in the eye and say, I love you, they don't mean it. Let not this be a sign of just pure, material exchange of goods and services. Let us take this instance and say, this is just one example of a stripper killing her boyfriend, sugar daddy. They're not all like this. They're beautiful people with souls, beautiful souls inside them. All right. Should you get in a relationship with a stripper? Absolutely. Yes, 100%. Now, when it comes to beheading, this is what caught my attention, because beheading is a lot. Beheading is a lot. You should always keep beheading in should be like one of the last resorts. When should you behead? If you got a bone to pick, if you got a axe to grind, if you got a cock to shine, if you got a puss to wax, if you've got a prolapsed anus which you got to keep moisturized, you know what I'm talking about. If you've got a point to make, it's best that, you know, keep beheading, because beheading, people think it's easy. You know, you might have watched a few videos on the dark web, you're like, beheading seems so easy, you know, abracadabra, off with their heads. It's a lot, dude. There's so much blood. There's so much, you can't, that is a lot of, once the head is off, there is so much blood. She fled to Mexico, she's being extradited, she got caught. It's just too much. Again, keep it, like, if somebody's like abusing you, like really have that on tape of them abusing you. If they're like, you know, low-key like raping you, you know, just like beating you with like, you know, baseball bats and like pissing in your food and like, you know, taking dumps in your milkshake and feeding it to you, you have all that evidence. Keep building that evidence and then maybe behead them. Maybe that'll give you some, you know, sympathy in the courts. I don't even know if it works out that way, but at least, you know, you have all the evidence. Just beheading without any sort of evidence as to why you've beheaded, it's a lot to, you know, it's a lot to, from at least the, you know, public's perspective. I can't, you know, but if you're being abused, then maybe it could be justified. Maybe it could be just, but again, keep it as like one of the last resorts. Maybe start off with just like low key, like you got to get it out. I get it. You got to get it out. It's, try passive aggressiveness. Try low key, underrated. It keeps from murdering people. Be a little bit passive aggressive. Keeps people safe. All right. Bump into a motherfucker every once in a while. You know what I'm talking. Sorry, didn't mean to bump you on the dick right there. My bad. You know what I'm talking about. As you get up off the couch and go grab something out the fridge, just like hit their shin. Hit a shin with your boots on. It hurts. It hurts. Again, little minor passive aggressive movement where you don't gotta murder them. You know what I'm talking about? When you're making food, just burn it a little bit. You know, give them the burnt piece of steak. You know, and just little teeny that's, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even notice that piece of steak was burnt. But low key, relieve. Get that stress off your shoulder. Because you don't do those little things, you know. Walking with the groceries, don't bother to like keep the door open just because your hands were full. Fuck it. You could have kept the door open, but low key, again, a little bit of passive aggressiveness saves you from murdering your partner. Underrated. Try passive aggressiveness. Trust me, people are like, oh, you got to be the bigger person. You end up murdering motherfuckers, all right? Passive aggressive behaviors saves lives. I think that's the takeaway. Beheadings. That's, again, what are you going to do with the head? It's so much work. It's so much. Think about it. You know what I'm talking about. Make comments about their weight, about their height, about their hair, about their looks. You know, give a compliment to some other couple. You know, just low key, passive aggressive. Just be like, oh, she looks like she works out, sweetheart. You know, just, or whatever. Or reverses for the female. Oh, he seems like he's got a very stable job. And then be on your way. You know what I'm talking about. A little bit of passive aggressiveness motivates you and your partner to do better and not murder each other. Yeah, try being the bigger person all the time. Then you end up fucking beheading a son of a bitch. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, nonetheless. I believe Sydney Sweeney was just recently in Hollywood. That's where she, I believe, I'm not sure where she resides, to be honest with, doesn't even matter, but she was caught on camera, on video. Sydney Sweeney apparently took her bras and hung it up on the Hollywood sign. That's what she did. She took many of her bras, hung it up on the Hollywood sign. They called me. I do work as a private investigator / detective. That's journalist detective Rob Sadrian. I wanted to get to the bottom of this. They do call me for elite cases, for, you know, when it's you know, people that are rich, famous, and in the you know, in the public eye. They said do this on the low key. Try to find out what's causing Sydney Sweeney to go and take her bras and put it up on the Hollywood signs. I'm still working on it. Of course, if you have any tips, please do come forward. Leave it in the comments. I do have my intuition tells me that this may be, she is young, not too young, but like young. So I don't know if it could be a sickness. It could be that she is sick. Could be that she is driven by a compulsion to remove not just her bras, but every bra in America and hang it in places that are easily viewed by the public. Could be that she doesn't, maybe this is her version of feminism. Maybe saying burn the bras wasn't strong enough of a message. Hang the bras. That's what she's, putting up, hang your bras, hanging. And people saw the bras and they screamed. The public saw the bras and like, children panicking all around Hollywood, LA, California at large. Mommy, what is that? No, mommy, what is that? And children had to be reassured that everything's gonna be fine. It's okay, sweetheart. That's just Sydney Sweeney and her bra. But why would she do that? Because the bras are supposed to maintain the titties in an upright position. Otherwise, they'd be going in all sorts of directions. Mama, why? And that kid had to be taken away. Traumatized by the sight of many a bras. Of course, there could be more to this than what I'm getting in my intuition, my gut feeling. This could be a bigger, larger, more sophisticated conspiracy might be at play, ladies and gentlemen. She could be low-key saying that do not use dryers to dry your bras, ladies. This could be an anti-dryer. She could be, what I'm getting here, again, intuition-driven, deducing. She washed her bras. Not a fan of putting it in the dryer because the dryer does tend to shrink clothing items. She thought to herself, what better place to hang my bras and dry them off. So she went out there in public and decided to hang her bras on the Hollywood sign and let the air take care of it. It's still, this is not a complete picture. Trying to put all the pieces of the puzzle together, all right? She could want to gather more fans through the sense of smell. Think about this. She wears the bras, doesn't wash them, hangs the bras on the Hollywood sign. A good breeze, a swift breeze comes in up top of the hill, takes the smell of the bras that have been embedded in the bras, she's been sweating in them, working out in them. The breeze carries the scent of her tits down to the city, further down south, to Mexico, and there's a big upstream crazy wind that brings it up north as well here in Canada. The entirety of North America is slowly ingesting little by little particles, little tiny fragments of particles distributed in the air, taking in what Sydney Sweeney smells like, getting infatuated with her, becoming a fan of her movies, going out there buying more tickets. She becomes even bigger and bigger and bigger. They take down the Hollywood sign, create a sign that's in the image of Sydney Sweeney, place it in where the Hollywood sign is. She becomes the sign for Hollywood. She takes over Hollywood. That's also, again, intuition driven, a little bit of deduction, a little bit of just looking at the evidence for what they are. Yeah. It's tricky. Please do not approach her. We're still working on this case. Do not say anything to her. Play along as if it's all just normal, please. Okay. Let the professionals do their work. I don't want to see anybody out there going and doing anything that's not related to them. So please let the pros handle this. I myself, some people may say that I may have hung up a few of my draws up on random places in and around the city to also, to some effect, have the same sort of vibe, to create the same vibe. I try to, some people say that I did that. Could see it on, when you're at the crosswalk, you're like, let me press this little button so that I could cross the street, and on top of that, beautiful crosswalk sign, you see my draws and you're like, is that Is that Rob's boxer briefs? And low-key, you go online and you subscribe to Gladyamadeit. You don't know why. You're like, is it his drawers? Are those his boxers? You're just clicking subscribe. You don't know why. You open up your microwave to warm up some food. My underwear's in your microwave. You're like, are these Rob Sadri's boxer briefs? It can't be. Next thing you know, you're clicking subscribe. Go to start your car, put the key in the ignition. Airbags blow up, but nothing's inside except my underwear. What happened there? Like, are these Rob Sadri's Speedos? It can't be. Next thing you know, what are you doing? You're subscribing. That's crazy. That's crazy. Nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I'm drawing my own conclusions. I'm taking my time to do this right. A lot of people have been asking, what could I do to intimidate people in my life if I want to? Whether they be family members that I need to intimidate, whether it be friends, colleagues, co-workers, acquaintances. What is a safe way to intimidate people into making them want to, do the things that I want them to do? Dildo drive-bys, ladies and gentlemen, dildo drive-bys. If you are wondering what a dildo drive-by is, it's the simple act of doing a drive-by, but instead of doing it with a gun, which can have deadly implications, you do it with a dildo, which is just a fun, mid-level intimidation tactic that you could roll down your windows as you're driving, all right? Grab a bunch of dildos in your hand and you wiggle it around in front of the people that you want to intimidate. You wiggle it around, all right? Large dildos, 12 inches, I'm talking 17 and a half inches. Wiggle it around, right? Intimidation embedded into the hearts of your foes, if you got any, or your competition, again, if you've got any. Or whether it could just be a family member as well, that you want them to do something, but they're not doing it, but you want to intimidate them, but not also take it to drastic levels. Dildo drive-bys. Drive by them wearing a mask. Wiggle a dildo in their face. Next thing you know, they're doing exactly what you want them to do. Why? Because you've driven fear into the hearts of your family and friends. It's always good to, of course, use the sunroof or the moonroof. You could do this as you're driving by. Wiggle the dildo up through the sunroof and, again, drive fear and intimidation into the hearts of those who you'd like to touch. So that's just a brief little intimidation tactic that you could use. Try it, I say 2 to 3 times per week for up to 3 months. Do not exceed 3 months. Then it could have the reverse effects where people get accustomed to the dildos and your plans fall apart. I believe a man was just arrested. Not sure how old he is. I think he's 37 if I'm not mistaken. He was arrested for impersonating an FBI agent and wanting to free Luigi Mangione. Luigi. Yeah, he went and did that. He tried to, at least. Thoughts on impersonating FBI law enforcement? I believe it's illegal, but I do like impersonations. I do like a good impersonator. He didn't manage to get him out. Low-key, he didn't, so that sucks in terms of, we haven't seen a good break. I like a jailbreak. I've always, because again, based on the things that I've consumed growing up, you watch movies, you tend to be for jailbreaks. I'm not quite sure where we all stand on, but that's where I stand. I don't know about you guys and gals out there, but I like a good jailbreak. Somebody comes in with a loaf of bread, there's a metal, there's a shiv, there's a metal, there's a cell phone in the bread. You use the cell phone to crack the wall open. There's a pocket pussy inside the loaf of bread, so you might be staying here a little bit longer. Doesn't matter. Use the pocket pussy. All these tactics. Or back in the day, again, back in the sheriff days, you had your homies end up in the local jail. You went out at nighttime, tied some rope to the bars of the prison. There was a window with bars, and then you tied a rope to it, and then the other end of the rope you attached it to your horse, and in the dark of the night you'd said yeah 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 while sitting on your horse, and your horse took off, and then the whole entire wall came down. It was just due to poor construction. You could just take down an entire wall using nothing but a horse and a rope. Those are the good times. Try doing that today. Try doing that today. It's sad, actually. But yeah, so am I for jailbreaks? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. I didn't succeed. I do understand you're not supposed to impersonate FBI agents, but also it is a form of, you know, what do they say about when it's a form of, you're paying homage, you're paying, you know, it's flattery, if anything, you know. You should appreciate, people should, you know, it shouldn't be, if he keeps doing it, like you should get to impersonate anybody at least, like, you know, one time before it becomes like, we got to take you away because it's law enforcement. Let him back, free this guy. Also, hashtag still maybe free Luigi Mangione. I still stand on that one. I still stand, again, not for killing people, of course, but given the overall reasons behind it, you could see how some people might be like, we understand a little bit about what's taking place here. Neither here or there, but I'm just, you know, I'm for jailbreaks. That's what I want to say. I'm here for jailbreaks. Whenever people do bust out, that's fucking inspiring, because you're in a hole and you break out. Oh, come on. You can't, you know, it doesn't get more romantic than that. It does not get more romantic than that, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, do your own jailbreaks. Peace out. Get out of here.